with alternatives and turn now to real estate, one segment within alternative investments. Rastegar Property is doubling down on Austin, Texas, with new development of industrial land near the airport. And that comes as the region attracts massive corporate investment from the likes of Tesla, Samsung, and Google. Let's bring in now Ari Rastegar. He is CEO of Rastegar Capital. Austin has been kind of on fire for a while. And if anything, there's a lot of talk that maybe it's peaked in terms of interest as a Silicon Valley 2.0. Where are we at in that cycle right now?
Yeah, I've read those headlines a little bit too, and I think the main thing to look at is job growth, right? And Austin continues to grow in jobs, and so there absolutely was an oversupply issue. But real estate is about counterpunching, and when you see the oversupply, you see these other issues. You want to see. Is there positive population migration? The answer is yes. Is there job growth? The answer is yes. And when you have major companies like Tesla doing $16 billion 10-year deals with other Austin-centric firms like Samsung, which is in the Austin MSA, it brings a little bit more optimism to a market that has absolutely seen some fluctuations.
Okay, so your firm primarily owns real estate in the Austin area, also Dallas and Phoenix as well, so very much in that region. Talk a little bit about the kind of property that's most in demand right now, that's moving most quickly in the Austin region specifically. Is it industrial property? Is it residential property?
Well, the short answer is nothing is really moving that fast. Everything.
This is real estate.
Yeah, this is real estate. It's taking a little bit longer. Rates are high. There's a lot of uncertainty.
Sure.
So I think people, even if there are good deals to be had, people are pulling back and waiting to see that more uncertainty continues to unravel. But at the end of the day, necessity-based real estate is what is going to drive the market. Workforce housing is a very important sector. We're building a lot of these types of homes. Industrial, absolutely, and self-storage. When people are moving in, there's places that they need to put their stuff. So that is the main focus now, is what do people actually need? And if you can focus there, you can find some deals to be made.
Talk about the return on investment when it comes to workforce housing versus self-storage space versus industrial. I mean, how do you rank them?
Well, I think it has to do with where is the rent growth going to be. And so the rent growth that you see in self-storage prices very, very quickly. So you can see a little bit of growth as we've seen in hotels. Hotels have done very well when typically in these types of markets, sometimes they don't see that growth. So when the rates are really locked in on longer term, like we've seen office, which has been very, very difficult. Luckily, it's a small part of our portfolio. But this is the moment where you need to think about how are you going to create alpha. And I believe in this type of market, you want to look at zoning and looking at entitlements. Because if you can get relatively cheap land in great areas, it affords you the luxury of being able to wait to see where the market is going to be. And it's really what we've tried to do more, and we're trying to do even more of.
So if Austin is kind of a Silicon Valley 2.0, a lot of people say Dallas is kind of a Wall Street 2.0. They call it Yall Street.
Sure.
And there's been a lot of interest from big banks, the likes of JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, in building out their operations there. You do have some projects taking place in Dallas right now that's across the street from the headquarters that Goldman Sachs is building right now.
That's right. And so Dallas, is a sprawled metroplex. Austin is a town on steroids.
Ooh, I like that.
And so if you look at Dallas, it has the infrastructure to, by 2050, I've seen many projections that it'll be the most populated city in the United States. But when you say Dallas, Fort Worth, that's a very large surface area. And to give you a funny thing to think about is, Dallas Fort Worth Airport, Dallas Fort Worth Airport is larger than Manhattan Island.
That is pretty mind-boggling.
So when you think about that, how much space is, so clearly Dallas has the ability to grow. So with Goldman putting 5,000 employees, Yall Street launching, there is a place that it can actually grow. There's affordability. Austin has real geographic barriers, which can drive prices high, but there are some barriers to growth.
I guess one of the concerns when it comes to Dallas is that most of that growth is happening so quickly that it can become out of reach. It can become unaffordable for the population that already exists there. Yes, Goldman's going to move a lot of people to the region, but for people who are in Texas, affordable housing becomes something of a difficult thing to find. How are you ensuring that you offer sufficient affordable housing?
It's a great question. It's something we think about a lot. And so rates are obviously a big issue, but it's really not the only issue. You know, there is a desperate need for entitlement and zoning reform, from getting smarter about how we use density, how quickly permits are issued, and even construction innovation. So we're at this precipice where there is certainly enough land in Texas, you know, for everybody. But a question is, can we cut that red tape and let the private sector really do its magic to bring houses at a place that real people can afford?
All right, Ari, thank you so much for joining us. Ari Rastegar is the CEO of Rastegar Capital. They have a presence in the Texas market, whether it's Austin, Dallas, or Phoenix, Arizona.